Good evening to all our listeners tuning into Hot Topic and Fresh News. Today, on March 30th, 2024, a major incident has occurred that demands our attention. Early yesterday morning, a catastrophic event unfolded in Baltimore when a cargo ship, the Dali, collided with the Francis Scott Key Bridge, causing a significant portion of it to collapse into the Patapsco River. This enormous vessel, comparable in size to the Eiffel Tower, suffered a complete power failure which darkened its lights and rendered it uncontrollable as it approached the bridge. Tragically, 8 workers who were on the bridge at the time are presumed dead after falling into the river below. The crew of the Dali, predominantly from India and Sri Lanka, had only recently arrived at the port of Baltimore and were preparing to continue their journey to Sri Lanka after a stopover. In a poignant detail, just before this tragic accident, local volunteers had assisted these crew members with personal shopping, unaware of the disaster that would soon unfold. The rapid response by Maryland Transportation Authority police may have prevented further casualties by halting traffic on the bridge. However, despite best efforts, the collision was inevitable. Currently, an investigation is underway to determine the precise causes of this calamity, focusing on possible factors like a power outage, contaminated fuel, or structural issues with the bridge itself. This incident not only brings immense sorrow to the families of the deceased workers but also poses severe economic disruptions and highlights the urgent need for extensive repairs and safety evaluations of our infrastructure. Stay tuned as we continue to follow this developing story and provide updates on the investigation and its repercussions. Hello and welcome to Hot Topic and Fresh News. I'm your host Emily, and joining me today is the ever-insightful David, our political analyst. We're here to bring you the latest and most significant news updates each day, right here on our channel. If you're new to our podcast or a returning listener, don't forget to subscribe, hit that notification bell, and share our episodes with your friends and family. Your support is what keeps us going, providing you with the news that matters, hot off the press.
Absolutely, Emily. It's crucial to stay informed, and we're here to make that happen with clear and concise reporting. What's the big headline today, Emily?
You won't believe what I'm about to disclose, David. Early yesterday morning, a catastrophic event unfolded in Baltimore when a cargo ship collided with the Francis Scott Key Bridge. This isn't just any ship, we're talking about a vessel nearly the size of the Eiffel Tower.
That sounds severe, Emily. The impact on the local community and the economy must be significant.
Oh, it absolutely is, David. The bridge's collapse has not only caused heartbreaking loss of life but also significant economic disruptions and highlights critical concerns over infrastructure safety. It's a story that affects us all, demonstrating the urgent need for attention to our national structures and the safety of those who work on them. Stay tuned as we delve deeper into this story and more. Hot off the press.
Could you detail the moments leading up to the tragedy on the Key Bridge?
Certainly. It was around 1:24 in the morning on Tuesday when the cargo ship Dali, en route southeast on the Patapsco River, approached the Francis Scott Key Bridge. Normally, this would be a routine passage under the bridge, which stands 185 feet high. However, the ship, nearly the size of the Eiffel Tower, faced a sudden electrical failure, causing its lights to blink out. Moments later, the power flickered back on, only to fail again, leading to the catastrophic collapse of the bridge.
What were the immediate actions taken during those critical moments?
2 Maryland police officers, stationed at either end of the bridge, received a distress call from the ship which had become unnavigable due to the power outage. They acted swiftly to halt traffic, stopping 25 to 30 vehicles, which likely prevented further casualties.
How significant are the consequences projected to be following this incident?
The repercussions are profound and multifaceted. Economically, the area will face months of disruption and substantial rebuilding costs. For commuters, it translates into ongoing travel difficulties. Most tragically, there's an enduring heartache for the families of the 8 workers who perished, many of whom were immigrants from Latin America.
What has been the community's response to this disaster?
There's a deep sense of mourning and an outpouring of support for the victims' families. Simultaneously, there's a demand for thorough investigations and accountability, ensuring such a disaster doesn't happen again. The local community is rallying together, showing resilience and unity in the face of such overwhelming tragedy. What's your take on this breaking news?
It's a stark reminder of the vulnerabilities in our infrastructure and the human costs of such oversights. The story isn't just about a ship and a bridge, it's about individuals and families, and it compels us to look harder at our safety protocols and the support systems we have in place for such critical workers. The narrative of routine turning into disaster is a powerful one, urging a reevaluation of our preparedness for unexpected events.
The human aspect of this disaster touches on the lives of the Dali's crew, 20 from India and 1 from Sri Lanka, who had traveled thousands of miles from Busan, South Korea, through the Panama Canal, and up to the east coast of the United States. Their journey was meant to continue after loading up in Baltimore, with a month-long voyage planned to Sri Lanka. Interestingly, the local community in Baltimore, through an organization known as the Apostleship of the Sea of the United States, reached out to these distant seafarers to offer comfort and assistance during their stay. The crew's simple request for a shopping trip underscores the mundane yet deeply human needs they had, far from home.
Can you provide more detail on how the community interacted with these international crew members?
Absolutely. Over a weekend, the Apostleship's volunteer, Sean Day, acted as a chauffeur for key members of the Dali's crew. They visited popular stores like Walmart and Best Buy, where they purchased personal supplies and laptops, likely gifts for their families back home. This casual interaction included sharing meals and stories, with Day even recounting a local anecdote about eating a goose prepared by his neighbor. But there's more to their story. The captain, a veteran mariner with 30 years at sea, faced a new challenge. The usual route home through the Mediterranean and Suez Canal was too dangerous due to attacks by Yemen's Houthi rebels. This necessitated a much longer and more arduous journey around the southern tip of Africa, adding significantly to their time at sea.
How does this extended journey impact the crew and their families?
The prolonged trip not only delays their return to loved ones but also exposes the crew to extended periods of potential risks, piracy, severe weather, and the psychological strain of extended isolation. Each additional day at sea compounds these issues, highlighting the often overlooked hardships faced by those who work on international waters.
What do we know about the final moments before the tragedy struck the Dali?
Just before the tragedy, the atmosphere was busy but routine. About 150 longshoremen were loading the last freight containers onto the Dali. This was happening just around midnight. The crew was poised to depart, and local harbor pilots had noted that navigating the Patapsco River to the Chesapeake Bay should have been straightforward. However, at 1:24 in the morning, the ship's voyage data recorder stopped logging data due to a power failure, a situation often described by sea captains as a full blackout.
Can you explain the significance of these full blackouts in maritime contexts?
Absolutely. A full blackout means all the ship's power shuts down, lights, instruments, even essential navigation systems go dark. It's more than just a loss of visibility, it's a critical loss of control. Captains describe the experience as being enveloped in an eerie silence, which is a dangerous scenario on open water.
What's being looked into regarding the causes of this blackout?
Investigators are exploring several possibilities. They are considering the impact of what's termed dirty fuel, which might have clogged the engine systems, leading to the blackout. Additionally, there are inquiries into the design of the bridge and whether it was structurally sufficient to withstand such impacts.
What are the wider implications of this incident for global shipping?
This disaster highlights crucial vulnerabilities in maritime safety protocols and infrastructure resilience. With the Dali chartered by a Danish shipping giant, flagged in Singapore, and operated by a Singaporean company, it draws in multiple international stakeholders who must now scrutinize their operational and safety standards. The risks are not just local but global, affecting supply chains and international shipping regulations. What's your take on this breaking news?
It's a stark reminder of the fragility of our global systems. The intersection of human endeavor with technological reliability is always fraught with potential failure. This incident should serve as a wake-up call for an industry-wide reassessment of safety measures and response strategies to ensure such a devastating event does not repeat itself.
In light of this tragedy, it's hard not to remember the recent incident involving the Golden Gate Bridge where emergency protocols were similarly thrust into the spotlight. A cargo ship narrowly avoided a catastrophic incident due to a sudden mechanical failure, but fortunately, the quick response from the bridge's traffic management and the ship's crew averted disaster.
It's fascinating you bring that up. By a stroke of luck, I recently came across a story about the Verrazano Narrows Bridge in New York. There, an alert system installed after previous close calls managed to halt traffic in time when a malfunctioning tanker approached the bridge. It seems these technological interventions are becoming crucial in safeguarding our infrastructures.
Absolutely, and these stories underline the delicate balance between maritime and terrestrial traffic in our major cities. The stakes are high, as both the Baltimore and New York incidents show. The integration of advanced technology and quick human response are vital to preventing potential disasters. As we see, the rapid development and deployment of these systems can be the difference between a near miss and a severe accident.
Can you detail the immediate response measures taken aboard the Dali when the power was lost?
Absolutely. The situation was grave. With both engine and electrical power gone, the vessel was effectively a massive, uncontrollable object speeding toward the bridge. A backup diesel generator managed to restore some electrical power, but not the engines. The experienced pilot aboard, along with an apprentice, acted swiftly. They contacted the dispatcher urgently requesting to shut down the bridge traffic and called for tugboat assistance while ordering the ship's rudder turned hard and its anchor dropped in a desperate bid to slow their uncontrolled momentum.
What was happening on the bridge during these critical moments?
On the Key Bridge, the response was just as urgent. The Maryland Transportation Authority police were immediately alerted. Corporal Jeremy Herbert, a 19-year veteran, coordinated with officers on the bridge to stop traffic, ensuring that no one was in harm's way if the ship struck. The bridge workers, already in a vulnerable position due to their nighttime repairs, were a primary concern.
It sounds like a coordinated emergency response on multiple fronts: the ship, the Pilots Association, and local authorities. How effective would you say these measures were in mitigating a greater disaster?
The measures were critical. Despite the dire circumstances, the quick communication and emergency protocols likely prevented a far worse outcome. It showcases the importance of having experienced individuals and solid emergency procedures in place, which in this case, probably saved many lives.
Indeed, the role of the local pilots and their immediate actions cannot be understated. It's a stark reminder of the potential dangers lurking in such massive shipping operations and the thin line between routine and catastrophe.
The timeline of events is particularly harrowing. At 1:27 in the morning, we hear Corporal Jeremy Herbert urgently directing traffic control measures as the ship, now without steering, approached dangerously close to the Key Bridge. The immediate and decisive actions taken by Officer Gary Kurtz and Sergeant Paul Pasterek were critical. They halted traffic, effectively preventing any civilians from being put at risk during these critical moments.
It appears that the situation escalated very quickly. Can you speak to the actual moment of the collapse?
Yes, it was a matter of seconds that defined the crisis. By 1:29 a.m., despite the efforts to secure the area and evacuate, the bridge unfortunately collapsed. The transmission from Officer Kurtz following the collapse was almost frantic, a clear indicator of the sheer unexpectedness and severity of the incident. He urgently called for all available help, signaling the drastic turn of events.
This must have been a shocking and chaotic scene for everyone involved, especially the first responders and the workers on the bridge.
Absolutely. The emotional and psychological impact on all first responders and witnesses cannot be overstated. They faced a rapidly evolving emergency and had to make immediate, life-saving decisions under extraordinary stress. It's a stark reminder of the risks our emergency services and construction workers face and the critical importance of emergency preparedness and response protocols in such situations.
Indeed, it underscores the need for constant vigilance and readiness in all aspects of infrastructure management and emergency response. This incident will undoubtedly lead to further investigations and hopefully, enhancements in safety measures to prevent such tragedies in the future.
Thanks for tuning into Hot Topic and Fresh News today. We covered some intense developments and it's been fantastic sharing this time with you. Please, if you haven't yet, subscribe and activate those notifications so you never miss out. Your engagement truly helps us grow. Like, comment, share, and spread the word about our discussions.
And hey, who knows what we'll dive into next? It might be something light, it might shake the ground. Either way, you won't want to miss it. We're here every weekday, bringing you the freshest perspectives.
We truly appreciate your time and your ears. Looking forward to having you with us on the next broadcast. Keep those comments coming, we love reading them.
Yeah, and bring your friends too. More the merrier, right? Let's make this a big news party.
Stay in the loop, keep your eyes on the news, our channel's content will amuse.